Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. 5 of 6 alleged blood gangs members remanded until January 11. 5 of 6 alleged members of the Clarendon-based blood gang were yesterday remanded until January 11 when they appeared in the Home Circuit Court. Stephen Williams, Abigail Heidel, George Robinson, Travis Hardy, Franklin Miller, and Alex Miller are charged with murder, illegal possession of firearm, and robbery with aggravation. The matter was initially set for a plea and case management hearing, but failed to get off the ground due to Mr. Hardy and Franklin Miller being unrepresented. Legal aid assignments were subsequently ordered for both defendants. When the matter was called up yesterday afternoon, Attorney Tom Tavares Fincer KC, who was representing Franklin Miller, asked Justice Finis Graham Allen to release him from the case. Mr. Tavares Fincer told the court that he was asked by one of Miller's relatives to represent him, but the relative was unable to pay the full fee. The judge, before releasing Mr. Tavares Fincer, explained to Mr. Miller that the case cannot proceed unless he has a legal representation. After explaining the conditions on which an attorney asked, the judge inquired whether he wanted the court to assign him an attorney. The 64-year-old reluctantly agreed. The blood gang, which operated in southern Clarendon, is alleged to have been in extortion and multiple contract killings. In the meantime, Alex Miller, who was on bail and failed to appear in court last month, is now in custody. In relation to Stephen Williams, who has been missing since he was granted bail in August 2021, documents are to be submitted to the court to prove that he is in fact missing. The court was also told that Communication Forensics and Cybercrime Division report is outstanding. Junction firefighters call for mosquito fogging. Firefighters at the Junction Fire Station in St. Elizabeth are appealing to the Parish Health Department to help to address a mosquito nuisance. They want fogging to be conducted in the Junction Chocolate Hole communities, as well as clearing and cleaning of sinkholes surrounding the fire station. Similar calls have come from residents. The St. Elizabeth Health Department told reporters that it will soon outline a comprehensive vector control program for the parish. St. James Council calls for more resources to rid communities of violence. Counsel for the Rose Hall Division in St. James, Anthony Murray, has called for more resources that should be deployed to deal with acts of violence, especially in communities populated with mostly returning residents. The request follows 2 shootings in a week that left 2 dead. 3 people were shot on Monday, 1 fatally, in an attack at a house in Greenwood. Last week in the neighboring Long Bay community, a man was killed as he sat on a tire. Mr. Murray said the flare-up of violence is cause for concern, especially in Greenwood, which he said never had a violent history and is a home to many returning residents. He urged the authorities to do whatever is necessary to rid the communities of violence, lamenting that there have been 3 murders in this space in less than 3 weeks. Similar to previous calls from the police and other stakeholders, Mr. Morris said there is need for greater scrutiny of people who rent property. He appealed for landlords to ensure that they get the necessary background checks done, criminal records done, and verify the persons that they're inviting in their homes into the community. Clover High School among schools prioritized for removal from shift system. Minister of Education Favor Williams says plans are in place for the removal of Clover High School from the shift system following an appeal from Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Northwestern J.C. Hutchison that the rural school is prioritized for expansion. The team from the ministry, through the National Education Trust, have done the inspection of the property, they have done the scoping, they have requested funding for the preliminary design, and once this is done, we'll move towards getting the approval from the design and working it through the process, she said, while addressing a handing over ceremony of 2 coaster buses donated by the government of Japan to Clover High School last Friday. Her comments were in response to an appeal by Hutchison for the school, with a population of 1,275 students, to be removed from the shift system quickly. I am here begging the Minister of Education, and she knows that Clover needs to come off the shift system as quickly as possible. I know she's working on it, but I am going to be like a tick to make sure that the Clover school comes off the shift system, he declared. Hutchinson added that the land have already been made available for the construction of more classrooms at Clover High. To come off the shift system, we need extra classrooms, so that is what I am asking for. We cannot come off unless we have extra classrooms, and the land have been identified already, so it is just for the ministry to put things in place, he shared. Williams, in response to Hutchinson's appeal, outlined that various facilities are to be built at Clover High. What is in the scope right now is 16 classrooms, staff room, bathroom, science lab, and dining area, so I promise you that we will make it through the process as quickly as we can, she said. She added that removing schools from the shift system is important to minimize disadvantages faced by students and staff. All the shift schools across Jamaica have priority to come off the shift system because we know the disadvantage of the shift system. Children who are coming in first in the morning, you have to get here very early. The children who are leaving on the second shift, they leave here very late. And we know the burden on the school system, the principals, the teachers, so we do want to get those schools off the shift, she added. Williams said she is updated weekly as to the progress being made with maintenance and large projects at schools. She added that a survey is to be done of the land where additional facilities are to be built at Clover High. I know in the early part of it, you won't see anything happening because the surveyors have to come, they have to do the survey of the land, they have to get all the approvals and the designs, but once we go through that process, you'll begin to see the build-out of the school, assured Williams. Shortage of textbooks hurting some schools. The ongoing shortage of government-issued textbook has forced principals across some high schools to alternate the use of material available or devise other strategies of sharing information with students to avoid learning loss. The educators who spoke with reporters on Tuesday said despite the provision of e-book from the government, there is still a difficulty in conducting classes effectively due to limitation in requirements for the digital resources and the lack of smart devices. Principal of St. Jinga High School, Colette Price, said that while her institution receive e-books for English language, there is a no-phone policy for students which prevent them from accessing the resources. Phones should not be seen or heard, and for many reasons including security, so that causes a problem for the e-books because students would now have to access the devices to use them in class, she said. Also, not to mention what is required to give the students the e-books. The data they are asking you for, our textbook coordinator have to fill out a spreadsheet with all this information. It is not something we can just do overnight or in a day or 2 days or 3 days, she said, noting that the textbook availables are outdated and bedruggled. According to Price, Google Classroom is being used as a creative way to provide information for the students. Our teachers put the information there so students are able to access them when they go home. But a teacher would like to use the book in class with the students, but guess what happened unless the teachers state their textbook, and of course, you don't want to breach photocopying rules. So we do have a challenge, but I must commend my teachers of English because somehow they are resilient and get the job done, she explained. Meanwhile, principal of Calabar High School, Albert, said that even though students are allowed to use devices in school, there are many who don't own smart gadgets to access the e-books. It is bad, but we can't sit and don't allow our boys not to have information, and so we have benefited from a small number of the e-books, especially the grades 7, 8, and 9. It's not enough, but we are happy for that, he disclosed. The problem we're having is that a lot of the boys who have qualified for the e-books don't have devices. Although we are coming out of the pandemic where they should have devices, they aren't working or they don't have them anymore, so we are struggling with that too, he told reporters. Pointing out a different issue, principal at Mosquitoes High School, Leighton Johnson, said the teachers have been taking turns to use limited textbook in their classrooms. He also shared that e-books have not yet been provided by the Education Ministry. Where the physical copies are concerned, we are woefully short in terms of core subject areas such as English and mathematics. What we have had to do is in instances where a class is unable to get those textbooks, we have to retain to a set so that teachers can physically move them to classrooms. So we call those the roving books, he said. Johnson also noted that e-books are not easily accessible as they can only be downloaded on one device and used with the internet. If a child has a copy, he or she can't utilize this soft copy on multiple devices. It can only be downloaded on a device. And if that device is damaged or lost, the child will lose the e-book as well because it cannot be downloaded on another device. Also, those books are internet-based, so when the children are at school, there is internet access for them to utilize the books. However, if they go home, they do not have internet connectivity, they will not be able to access them, he explained. Meanwhile, Yorktown High School Principal Raymond Treasure said, "The textbook shortage is not as chronic as it would have been in the past. Some parents made the decision to buy books, or we may have copies of those textbooks that may have similar information, so we give them those. They may not be the recommended text, but they have similar information. Students probably don't have the textbook anywhere. They consult resources online," he said. Last month, Minister of Education and Youth Favor Williams said supply chain issues contributed to the delay in textbooks. "Unfortunately, we are also subjected to the same supply chain pressures because all the textbooks are printed outside of Jamaica and have to be shipped to Jamaica," Williams said at that time. Williams also noted that the e-books are being used for the third year, with the adaptation this year being better than in previous years. She added that the ministry sends the download link to the students, which she said has proven to be more efficient. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell